The first tap of a conductor's wand. The first rivet in a mile-high tower. The master link at the genesis of the never-ending chain. The moment a single empty canvas meets a singular master stroke. There is no one thing. Because now, there are many. Because soon, there will be more. Because one is ever the beginning. Like the first link in an infinite chain, or the first rivet in the tallest skyscraper. The master stroke is found in the masterpiece. What will you begin?
Nice. I like those two openings.
Awesome.
Good morning, you all.
Good morning. Indeed, it is good.
Florence, y'all.
We did do a mic check. Hopefully, Sean and Lisa will join us. I know Andrew is out today, and Joe is out today running errands. So they're probably listening, and we shall talk bad about them. Not. Welcome, everybody. World Blockchain Roundtable. This is the show that is an unbelievable run. It is the first in the world, a DAO-based podcast. And for those who don't know what a DAO is, it's a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, where the audience chooses the themes of the week, post questions, and from that, they earn rewards, which are lot tokens. And all of that takes place on din.social. And we have another guest. And
Yay.
Welcome, Sean.
Nice hat.
Look at that hat. We're just going over the intro. And anyway, so World Blockchain Roundtable is, by the way, this is episode 232. And each episode represents a week. So we've been doing this for 232 weeks. It's amazing. So before we get into our earnings from last week, let's go around the table and introduce everybody. Next to me, we have Augustine, aka Zach. Welcome, Zach. Below Zach, we have Greg from Rivet. And by the way, Augustine is from the Legacy Right. Thanks for joining us. And underneath me, down below, is Satoshi Sean, everyone's friend, with the unique hat during a government shutdown. Maybe it's pre-Halloween hat. I don't know.
It is. I'm going to be Uncle Sam, but I didn't want to put on the beard and the eyebrows.
Oh, yeah. Now that I'm older and I could pull it off, I won't do it.
So guys, I have a really fascinating topic to direct us to today that's blockchain related.
Oh, cool.
That I think may, it's either a really dumb idea or an idea that seems so dumb nobody's tried it yet, and that's why it hasn't happened.
Do you want to go into it now, or shall I go over the show notes?
Go ahead. I just wanted to throw that in so
cool.
we can come back to it.
We'll jump into it. Well, last week's show was the differences between blockchains like DAGs and which are directed acyclic graphs and hash graphs, and we went over those and had a good discussion about that. Each host from last week received 166 lot, and each topic contributor last week also received 83 lot. And last week's theme was nominated by, I don't remember doing it, but it was me. I guess it was months ago. And it finally got voted in. So anyway, lot, layer ownership tokens are perpetual passive income tokens, which give you free edits and governance votes on what we should vote on. And speaking of what we should vote on, let me bring this down.
Interesting about us doing that show. I know we didn't plan it, but HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, the biggest graph, they have a approval for ETF.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. Well, they've been around for a long time, so they got the legs for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow.
Interesting. That kind of changes the environment significantly. It's going to bring people to that idea of what a hash graph is.
To bring those people,
those.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me, and I'm honestly proud of the whole crypto space for, is not falling prey to the idea that we can't have any more than just one kind of currency. That there's only stable coins, and they're all US dollar representatives, and like the fact that people are seeing value where we're sort of not off the shelf carbon copies of Bitcoin or Ethereum, where those types of things aren't just the only pattern. And it's actually impressive to see that people are adopting a wider thing. Hayek was right.
So, Sean, I think it was because of our show it passed. Isn't that correct?
It probably was, yeah.
All right. So one more topic. We got a governance vote that is happening as we speak. And it is for the month of November for themes for the show. Right now, leading the pack, we have a blockchain DAO becomes a cabinet position at the White House. That has received 2 votes.
That's a cool
one vote is privacy. Is privacy dead?
Yes. Note that this still puts me in the number 2 slot, because for all of these 200 and some odd episodes I've been here, right? 232. I was here for episode 1. And that's what you can do, right? You can get that level of control if you have.
That's right.
Like you may be able to propose a topic, and I can go and propose topics all day long and vote on my own topics, right? It's not an egalitarian system. It's a meritocracy.
Yes. In third place right now is, what was your first blockchain or cryptocurrency that you fell in love with? And then after that, there are 4 weeks in November. So who knows what the 4th topic is going to be? So far, everyone's kind of piled on those 3. We need a 4th one to come to the table.
Who voted on the top one?
I know I did. Alexis voted for that, and so did I.
Nice. So if you move off that one will still be number 4, and you can pick a different one.
That's true. That is true. Or maybe
that's one cool thing about DAOs is your vote's never final, right? Until the vote closes, you can withdraw your vote and change it to something else, and that can be how it works.
That's correct.
It's a really neat feature of DAOs.
Yeah.
That's really hard to do. Like, can you imagine doing that in, like a proxy voting system with shareholder votes, where they just could change their mind on an issue they voted yay on 5 years ago?
Yes. I like the idea of putting us on the spot. What does blank work, or how does blank work? Technical questions for the panel. Hey, my AC or my car's not working. I got a 82 Ford Fiesta.
I challenge anyone to stump me. I can fix anything.
Nice.
If the only thing wrong with your
the manual
Ford Fiesta is the air conditioner, that's a pretty damn good Fiesta, man.
No kidding.
But condensers are neat too, though, right? Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, we all geek out on this stuff. Ask
there
any
are
black.
blogs, by the way, that have nothing but HVAC memes. Everybody should check.
Yeah, I kind of like this one too, right here. Ask any blockchain technology, software code, and computer science question. That's pretty cool.
That was one of mine.
Remember this one? We really do need to do a sequel. Wrong answers only. The sequel.
That was fun.
That was fun. And you know what? When we first got into it, we couldn't quite. We kept drifting to the right answer and not the wrong answer, and it took a while for us to get into that mode. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Well, and wrong answers, once they start to spill out, they cease to need to even circle or outline the right answer.
Right.
they can be absurd, which is the best part.
I did skip one. It says systems should use what systems should use blockchain that are not centralized databases.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. Deep dive. I would like to do that because I want to do this. I want to study up on it.
Yeah. Interestingly,
a lot of information about, but I want to know more. What's that?
You're going to get a little crash course today, because that's what my thing is related to.
Oh, cool. Can blockchain keep AI honest? Kind of like that one. Of course, we got Thanksgiving. I mean, maybe we can always call an audible, and maybe someone should vote about Thanksgiving, what we're grateful for. Some of us are grateful for the government shutdown.
That's
just
really
saying.
great. Yeah, no kidding. Oh wait, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I genuinely forgot it happened.
Blockchain time machine. What would you change? I always think of the block wars on that one. Using blockchain to determine AI outputs, facts or fiction. Fixing the economy with blockchain. So a lot of good theme topics here. So everyone get out your votes. If you got lot, you can vote. So with that, I guess we better kind of go into the topics, huh? The today's thing, and take a look. And where did it go? Hang on.
So while we're getting there, let me drop my thing. So the question I've been asking myself is, how do you do machine-driven infrastructure exchange, right? Like, how do you, because if you think of infrastructure, you can think of it like, just node infrastructure, or you can think of it as, just compute infrastructure, or you can think of it as like, I go to a service and I get a certain number of requests to this kind of AI. And then I go over to Ribbit and I get a certain packet of requests from this node RPC provider. And then I go over to a different one for a different blockchain or whatever, right? But then maybe you also get Uber Eats, right? That's an infrastructure because it can be ordered through the same API if they all integrate through the same point, right? Mm-hmm. So how could you build a general kind of exchange marketplace that didn't require any liquidity to be pre-made? Because what's being done in your marketplace is the creation of value, and so liquidity should generate from it, not be provided to it. So
hold on. Time out. Back up. I'm stumped before you go to the next step.
Okay.
No liquidity. How does the market function?
Here's the question: what assumptions have we made about liquidity with tokens since the beginning? We've made financialization type of assumptions, right? When we
to provide the market a buy sell bucket to either buy into or sell out of.
You have to have liquidity pools so that the things can exchange freely, right?
Right.
That's the only way that you can get a token of value into one of these marketplaces currently, is to juice a market maker with a big token grant, and that means you have to make a DAO, and that gets things complicated, right? Especially when it comes to VC, when you're doing something big. So what if the marketplace, rather than requiring some external kickstart, had its own boot up mechanism for making liquidity go not based on who offers value, because they've got a big pool of it, but who provides value by delivering the service, right? So here's how it would work, right?
You're actually kind of
have a
describing
smart contract.
meme asylum token. You realize that, right?
Right, I know. It's a very similar model.
Okay.
Right. But the idea should be whatever it is that you add to the marketplace. I'm coming with some infrastructure. So you will stake a stake and you'll list your infrastructure, and people or computers or whatever the heck is interfacing will be able to mint request tokens that they can exchange for capacity tokens. And the capacity tokens are generated by the creator, right? So you don't need an ETH pair to make this start humming out and actually generating tokens that represent units of value actually consumed. And because you have that proof,
it does sound a lot like
it'll be a matter of time.
Like Meme Asylum.
Yeah, because you're creating a one-to-one automatically.
Exactly. And because you have this capability of making requests, you can also make request for requests, right? So someone can say, I want ChatGPT on this. And if enough people mint request for request with their requests, so they buy the requests with whatever token,
right?
They mint by burning requests into requests for requests, and they just sit there waiting for that infrastructure provider, whoever they are, to see this big lump of money waiting over here just for them, right? Because as soon as they fill in those requests for requests with a conforming infrastructure, boom,
right,
all those things convert into requests, flood into them, they have instant revenue.
Well, Greg, I think your idea is sound, and
it doesn't take it down.
There's a today's show is called Host's Choice, and it's episode 232. So the idea was that everyone wanted to present two options, and for the host to decide which option they're going to choose to talk about for the panel. So I guess that would be me, or we could do it as a democracy and we could all have a vote, or I could assign like one vote to each of you, and then I could get like a tiebreaker 2 votes and to break up a vote, or I could give you each one vote and give myself 5 votes, and you would still have the ability to participate and think that you have a say in deciding what we're going to talk about, but ultimately it would still be my decision. Kind of like how the U.S. elections work, right?
Because we could totally get a chat bot to answer it for us, right?
Yeah.
What's the best way to choose? We can still ask. We can just have ChatGPT decide how we do it.
Well, anyway, what my point I was getting to make, Greg, is what you just described to me is exactly what got me excited when I read the white paper for Meme Asylum, and so that's in one of our choices today. So let me bring it to the screen.
There's no circuit breakers, right? There's nothing in there to make it so that the people can't just start providing things and buying things that they want.
Right. Yeah. There is yes and no. A little bit of yes and a little bit of no.
If done right. I didn't tell you the whole system.
No. All right. Well, let's go into it real quick, because I think once you see and when we dive into this, we'll come off with some ideas on both sides of what you're talking about, because I like where you're going. All right. So episode 232 again. Welcome everybody, and good morning. Let's see. Oh, let me refresh. So you had your last chance to get your 2 options in for host choice. Let's go down. Anonymous, Shill, or Darkaria, the Meme Asylum Experiment. Host choice, do one of the following: Shill Darkaria for 1 minute, or Shill the Meme Asylum Experiment for 1 minute. So here we are at host choice. Is it my choice? Is it our choice as a panel of hosts? I'm going to go with each of us get 1 vote, and I'll vote first. I'm going to vote for Meme Asylum.
Wait, no. I think we're misreading the topic. We got to stop. If this were the standard mode of the panel where we normally go through a question, each of us would answer it. Right?
Oh, okay, that's true.
And since it says host apostrophe S as opposed to host S apostrophe, I just lawyered us into doing it. Each of us, we're going to loop this. Is I think what the show implies.
I think you're right. So each of us will get to pick which one we want to talk about. I think that's excellent perception, Greg. Thank you. And we won't know because the question was proposed anonymously, so we don't know what their intent was here.
Yep.
And we don't know the intent on the theme, I guess, right?
Yep. I applied the canon of plain language.
It was Lee, wasn't it?
All right. I'm going to go last since I'm driving the ship today. And we're going to go first to Augustine. Zach, 1 or 2. Pick one of them and chill it for 1 minute. Hold on. The question says we're limited to 1 minute. So you know what that means. I gotta bring up the timer, gentlemen.
That's cool.
All right. I'm going to hit reset once you start. All right. So Zach, get ready. I need you to pick one of these and chill it for 1 minute. Ready, go.
I don't know if I can chill it for 1 minute, but you know what? It's almost time, though. Or it is time. Whatever. Meme asylum.
Okay.
So,
that's your shill.
So that's my shill. So and honestly,
we're all just sing the word Dracaria for the rest of it. No.
Yeah, honestly, what was that?
Oh yeah, so like I'm gonna shield meme asylum. So Dracaria.
You have 50 seconds.
Sample.
Now we just need a meme coin of a dragon.
All right.
Doing weird things.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Zach. All right, Greg. Pick one
sets me up.
And chill it for 1 minute.
Perfectly. That sets me up perfectly because I'm going to weave the shill for both into one coherent, right? So
ready?
You
got 1 minute. Ready? Go.
We start with Dracaria, which at its root isn't just a game. It's a platform for the genetic design of virtual objects, right? Mm-hmm. So when you think about the potential baked into that, and then you start thinking about what memes are, as we currently see, the memes are kind of flat, right? If you don't have anything behind them, they do nothing for you. They have to reference something else. And with Dracaria, you have a rich storytelling environment that doesn't just give you a lot of opportunity for different divergences, but gives you a lot of opportunity for different divergences with coherence because it keeps track of itself genetically. So every iteration that happens in the game sets up a new rich subtext for memes. The two fuel each other. And so getting involved with one inevitably means getting involved with the other.
Nice. All right. That was good. You actually shielded both of them. So diplomatic of you. All right, Sean, you're up next. You're going to show one or the other for 1 minute. Ready? Go.
Let's show Meme Asylum. There's every Friday we have a stream, so check that out. It's going to be early this Friday because of Halloween. And I got to get out, give candy to the kids. So, the biggest thing about Meme Asylum, I think, is like one of the reasons I'm here. Someone asked this question on Spaces. It's like, this is a little confusing. How do you think regular people are going to get it? And I've always said, the main problem with you guys is that you're so smart, but you think everyone else is just as smart. And it really is unlike anything else. It is the unruggable meme platform. And whenever there's something like crazy, I'm like, that's kind of crazy. you get the same answer. Well, that's part of the psychological part of it. It's it's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done, John. Well done. All right. So I guess I'm last. I got 1 minute to pick one of these and show one of them. So, all right, here goes my timer. I'll give it my best shot. Ready? Go. All right. I'm going to show Meme Asylum Experiment, but before I do that, I want to mention one thing about Darkaria. It has a random selection process or built into the code that is bar none the best ever out there that the world has ever seen. And probably casinos should jump on this and get it because it's using blockchain and hash to figure out a random number or random selection. Amazing tech, probably patentable. All right, Meme Asylum. Everyone knows that these memes pump and dump. They go up, down, and it happens real quick. And everyone's trying to grab that one early, get in early before it dumps, or pray that everyone else starts jumping on it and becomes the new Dogecoin and stays at the top. But even the Trump official meme didn't work. Meme Asylum fixes that by voting. And better yet, why not own the platform that's creating memes? Have a piece of that. Own part of the launch pad. There you go.
That's pretty cool.
I went over 5 seconds.
That's okay. I feel like the point you were making deserved to be made.
It's a DAO for shitcoins? Fuck yes.
It's a
rapid
evolutionary experiment in meme dominance.
I said what it was last night to Lee, and it was so offensive coming out of my mouth. But he was like, "Yeah, that's what it is." So we came up with the idea like 2 years ago, and there was this launch pad for meme coins, and they were they built this huge, awesome community, and then they launched this meme coin and rugged them. And then they were like, oh, here we got a new meme coin, and they launched it, and then they rugged them. And then they did it. So like 5-6 times, and we got really pissed and then I wasn't so pissed at them anymore. I was kind of pissed at the community. But
and if the community owns the battle arena,
but hold on. So the community starts. So it's dying, but it's slowly dying. I mean, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a meme coin launch. And then I said, dude, the hardest thing about
oh no, what happened? The hardest thing about, and we lost
you.
it.
Do that on purpose?
No,
we wouldn't do a thing like that.
No.
We're not playing with cliffhangers here.
There you go. What happened?
I said the hardest thing about launching any project is creating the community. And they did it. They got this huge on fire community, and it's like from a purely greed standpoint, to just make a quick buck and then throw the community out was stupid. Because they were making like 10 grand or 50 grand. That. Well, I was like, they could have made millions if they just would have cultivated the freaking community.
Right. They had the golden goose in their hands, and they killed it and had a meal.
Exactly. They didn't take the golden eggs. So last night, then that's when me and Lee started talking about it, and then we tried to launch Meme Asylum like a year and a half or so ago, and the whole SEC thing and the climate was very different, and we couldn't get enough people on board.
There were people holding a boot on the industry's neck at that at the particular point in time.
So last night, it was called, I'll say the name of the thing. It was called Katamoto. Was the name of the Launchpad meme thing. So I said to Lee, I was like, what we've done is we've created a communist Katamoto. And then he was like, we've created a communist Katamoto. Because it's like all the power has been given to the people, and the industry can come in and be like, hey, we want to, and they have to get permission to come in versus the industry setting it all up and then rugging the people.
Right. But honestly, we could have an oligarchic Bonapartism, right? Because the will of the people is expressed in terms of the thing that's on the pump.
Yeah, and then it's crazy. It is. It's funny that it's this asylum thing because it is. There's things that are crazy, and then Joe and Lee are like, it's where the psychology comes in. It's so you create you. It's just like this, just like our show. People can put up, say, hey, here's a lizard coin, and we got frog coin, and then you can vote on what coin you want to launch. Lizard coin wins. So lizard coin gets minted and issued, and then it's all on burns. So, but people cannot burn it, and it could take off and become its own thing. And literally, because you burn lizard coin to get more ETC.
Right.
But lizard coin could take off towards worth more than ETC.
Right.
And you could sell your lizard coin to buy ETC.
Right, and that would likely levitate ETC too, a bit, but not as much. You can get a differential. The value actually comes out in the differential. That's genius. The other cool thing about it, man, that I just noticed is like when the community also owns a piece of the foundry, right? If you come in there and use the foundry like an asshole, you might get one, but you won't get another, right?
Right.
The fact that the place where you make them gives the makers the ability to enforce professional ethics without any third-party intervention is brilliant.
The ethics is forced via code, essentially.
Right.
That's why it can't be rugged.
It's
there's
other there's cypherpunk as fuck, basically.
Can I take it to the kind of the 20,000, 30,000 foot level and try to keep it simplistic in response to this? We here on World Blockchain Roundtable, we always talk about blockchains and blockchain solutions to real world problems. And in the crypto space, there are people that despise memes and meme coins and think it's a waste of time and it's full of scams and scammers, which has been true. And but it is an exciting place to, I'm going to say, gamble. Some would say invest.
It's a marketplace for attention is what it is.
Yeah. And it's taking those memes that we often play and show on the show about, political memes or just funny memes and making them into something because they have a message behind them. Kind of like humor's always got a little bit of raw reality to it. Well, Meme Asylum at the 30,000 foot level is a blockchain with people that have been in this space for a long time. And like Joe, the computer scientist that says, we could solve this problem with blockchain of these pump and dumps, even if they're not a scheme where the code has been tightened down, maybe the liquidity pool has been locked so people can't just, rug pull you. It's just a pump and dump quick and you don't get in fast enough and you get at the end holding the bag. And the beautiful thing about Meme Asylum is it is plugging in a real blockchain solution into that problem. And that's what caught my attention, because I wasn't, I kind of played around a little bit with memes way back before Solana kind of took over that market on the east side of it, hated the fees, thought that Polygon would take over in that area because of low fees, but it just didn't as a layer 2 solution on ETH. And but there was still the issue is, am I smart enough to use Radar and all the social media sites and find that early stage pump and dump, of a meme and get in early and get out before everyone else, or will I be holding it back? And I kind of played with it a little bit and said, no, this isn't me. This is not what I want. It's exciting. It's fun, but it's not really me. And then the idea, this concept of Meme Asylum came up, and then the white paper, and like, there's like bingo, the light went off. I was like, whoa, that's is a blockchain solution to a real world problem of this pump and then the dump.
Mm-hmm.
And it really solves it with a voting structure, with a multiplier structure, rebirthing or burning your meme token back into the launchpad token, which is called ECT on Meme Asylum. And I thought, yeah. Then there's arbitrage in the middle of all that. We won't go down that road.
No.
That's when I said.
And then think about this.
Well, meme coins in general, for me, that was like a light bulb moment with Doge. Remember when Doge started taking off? That was when the maxis really showed their ass. Right. They were like, "Oh, this is a worthless coin." And I was like, "It's not worthless," because all these people say it's not. It was like that's what crypto is. That's what money is. It's like this has value because we all say it does. Right. And the network and the community is what gives it value. It was a big moment for me because it's like whatever your code is, whatever. It's like no, it's just the community and just the network that has made this relevant and have value. Right. It stood. It's an ongoing stood on its own.
Of the Gresham's law concept.
Say that again, Greg.
It's an ongoing disproof of the Gresham's law concept.
Walk me through that.
The Gresham's law concept is the idea that in a any currency or any society, a currency system they will adopt will ultimately have a dominant member. It's the Bitcoin maximalist argument. The argument that ultimately tokenomics right now is a disequilibrium, and that equilibrium will eventually be reached where only one form of currency has ruled. It's a Highlander competition, zero sum, right? That's not what value creation is, right? Value creation, as it turns out, is multiplicative, and each individual human being can make it.
Right.
It's not something that only Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever they were, had the power to do. It's in each of us.
Right. No, it's a good point. Well, we've covered this one. I think would move on unless anyone else wants to mention something else about
one more. Yeah, there's because it's a tough one. So we're making it now where we can kill a coin.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, I'm wrestling with it because at first I was like, no, we shouldn't be able to kill a coin. Just total, free speech, whatever you want,
I think it should be, if they're going to do it, it should be full consensus. It should be everybody with a stake.
But then we brought up, CP, and I was like,
well, but people that do that are going to get fucking hunted down, right? Like, you don't want to out yourself like that. It doesn't matter if you post anonymously. If you start doing that kind of shit, right? Like if you're doing that in a place where there are people who are good, people will find you.
Yeah.
So we just make it very clear that that's not tolerated, and that that basically, as far as we're concerned, whatever happens to you if you try it, you brought it on yourself.
Right. It's everyone's talking about. I guess the last other thing I just mention is you guys, everyone needs to do their own research. I'm not financial advice here or anything. And then the last thing I'd mention is that it's an experiment because it's gamifying the creation and the launch of a community and a meme coin. It's gamifying that functionality versus just a community popping up somewhere and popping up a meme coin. It makes it different. And yes, Sean, you're absolutely right. And that person mentioned, meme coin buy, meme coin sell, meme coin make money, on that one Spaces. And this is a little bit more complicated, but I think we can simplify the concept by just, you vote on a meme coin. If your vote wins, then you get those meme tokens. And if the token takes off, it's great. And if you hold it longer, the longer you hold it, you got a multiplier to get out of it and go back to the original, meme launchpad coin or ECT.
Here's an idea. What if we do something more like?
I think that's simple.
What if we did something more like 4chan? where like stuff that doesn't get engaged with just falls off, like just have a fade function, right? To where what happens is if somebody mints some bullshit that nobody gives a crap about, then there's no volume, and if there's no volume for a certain amount of time, the decay takes it off.
Right. It's actually the opposite of that, though, which I think is that's another crazy thing, is that the longer you hold it, when other people are getting rid of it and burning it to get ECT, the more it's worth.
Yes.
So if it falls off, the more it falls off, the more you make.
Scarcity.
Yeah. So then, like, what is it, like 32x you can get?
Yeah. So if you got the diamond hands and hold it longer than just about anybody else.
Yeah.
you know.
But
so
again,
that to me, that is nuts.
If you made it off a horrendous meme, you know,
which is, I think, like I remember. I mean, I can tell you right now that I had an emotional feeling, and that I wanted to do violence when that squirrel got killed by the cops in New York, and it was, and now, I mean, and imagine that coin when it came out. Then, boom, there's a giant community. I'm putting, like, you know,
well, it could go
money into it just to
that could quickly go into a general anti-animal cruelty and bureaucaucy type of
But now
nobody's policing the policeman on that.
Now we're looking at, you know, what was the nut? It was peanut. You know, like it's died out though, and it wouldn't be worth. My point is, it wouldn't be worth that much. At the time, it would have exploded because there was so much emotional investment in the story,
right?
In the
but if that had developed its own microeconomy of activity around it,
right?
You know, because the community actually was coherent, as opposed to,
see, that's the whole. You know, it most likely it would have died off, and your coins would be worth crap. Whereas now, if it's, you know, if it would have launched on Meme Asylum, if you still had it, you would, the longer you had it, even if it's fallen off and people have moved on and they don't care about the squirrel anymore, the outrage of what happened and the government overreach and the whole bigger picture. Still, if you had those coins, you would be up to 32x.
Right.
So lock in that value for longer, essentially.
Which also, to me, when I was reading the white paper, I was looking at this and thinking, you know, if you create a meme coin and it takes off and whatever, down the road, it pays, you know, whatever, 16x, 32x, whatever, you know, a community could use that as a fundraising mechanism for a fundraising project. And so I was thinking down the road that Meme Asylum might turn into not just a meme coin.
See, now you're talking about what I was talking about, the communism thing. Yeah. So this group would have to come into our community and say, hey man, we want to launch this coin for this, and they would have to buy their token with their so they'd be the ones putting up the risk. You know, like, hey, we're gonna make a bunch of money, but we're putting it here. And then our community,
you're dumping on yourself,
that would help them do it. Whereas the other way around, people come in, they're like, hey, look at this, and then they rug. And with this, they have to come in, and it's the complete flip.
Right.
Where
it's like
the power with
it's a stake that says we're not going to rug pull.
Right. It's fascinating. It really is. Like I said, we talk about blockchain on this show, and we talk about blockchain solving real world problems. And a real world problem is this pump and dump meme thing. And Meme Asylum's it's an experiment. It's a gamification of the process. But I think they figured it out. And
it brings reputation to the game is the trick.
Yes.
That's what, like, Ross Ulbricht got right about Silk Road, that would have made just a dumb internet forum on like a BBS on an Onion service not as good, right? It was the reputation marketplace that made it possible.
Right.
And this is like, it harnesses the power that you can have from like viral idea generation that generates funding, right? But it doesn't it doesn't give you the same downside. It's blunted the double-edged sword a bit,
right?
Or one edge of it anyway, and hopefully not at the expense of the other side. But the other interesting thing about this too is what it sets up, because this is a training ground for people to think about tokenomics. So maybe your first project is on meme asylum, and your next project, because you know a little bit about vibe coding, you've started asking AI, well, what else could I do with smart contracts? Right. We've opened up a whole new way of thinking about solving problems with computers to a whole new generation of developers if we do this right.
And then gosh, I'm just anxious. I'm really anxious to talk about the arbitrage opportunities in this project, but that's for another day. All right, let's move on. We've talked this one out for a long time. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Decision, hosts. And I hope Zach is listening and can jump in here. Here's the lonely man with his backpack. He's got 2 roads to choose from. Let's see what his choices are. Can blockchains become income streams after we all lose our incomes to AI, robots, and automation? Is post-labor economics just a pipe dream? Let me define post-labor economics. It is where we no longer trade our time and our labor for wages. Right. We're essentially either UBI, or part of it is UBI and the other part is all kinds of various income, residual income revenues or dividend payments or something like that.
We become infrastructure providers, all of us, in my version of this.
Yeah. So this is a host choice. Can blockchains become income streams when we lose our jobs? Or is post-labor economics just a pipe dream? We're not going to lose our jobs. We're going to, for generations to come, we'll all have to work. So I guess since I went last time, I'll go first on this one. And I'm going to jump on the second one, post-labor economics, just because I've been following this concept and this idea for a while and really digging deep into it. I'm going to answer and say, no, it's not a pipe dream. Will I see it in my lifetime? There's a good probability of it. And it's a life of abundance, and you have to think differently. If we have 55 billion robots out there doing just the meaningless task that you can think of, loading a dishwasher, mowing the lawn, painting a house, doing all kinds of different things that replace human work and human labor, then it is possible that we will have to look at alternative income streams. Example, the Alaska pipeline. The citizens of Alaska, you have a fund that generates income based off of the oil that is sold out of Alaska, and it's paid to all the citizens of Alaska. There are no income taxes in Alaska so long as the oil flows and it has a good rate. So it is very possible and highly probable that humans will move into a post-labor economics where AI fused with robotics, and that it becomes automation replacing our jobs. All right. How about you, Sean?
I think we kind of already have seen it, and it also depends on. No, it doesn't depend. We've seen it with mining. Mining has become a income stream from blockchain. That's one of the original benefits of Bitcoin was the average Joe could earn Bitcoin from their computer.
So you're picking number one. Can blockchains become income streams if we lose our jobs?
Yeah.
Okay. So
it already has with mining. And then I was going to say if it goes proof of work, but even proof of stake, you could still run a node. So yes, definitely it's not a pipe dream. And there's also ways you don't know yet. DeFi has just scratched the surface. So, when it comes to staking and other things, definitely not a pipe dream.
I agree. All right, Greg, you were smiling when I was talking about post-labor economics.
Yeah,
you're going to got to push back. I'm feeling it, buddy. I'm feeling it.
Okay, so first I want to call it post-toil economics, but
post what?
Post-toil economics.
Okay.
Because because what I think is going to happen is that the nature of work is going to change, and everybody is going to be a capitalist, right? Essentially, you're going to own your Tesla, your phone, like your iPhone is mostly sitting idle. This is a fucking supercomputer in your pocket. It's sitting idle. Why not? Instead of have a job where you have to use your time, install an app on this thing, and it hooks you into an infrastructure network that provides background GPU for AI training. We don't need to build data centers. We just need to make better use of the compute that we have on hand, and we can do that with online infrastructure marketplaces using blockchain. Now, the best part about AI and robotics is what it's going to do to the cost of living, because what's going to happen is the productivity multiplier it's going to put on humanity is going to be orders of magnitude, to the point where we're going to have like hyper deflation in consumer goods prices.
Exactly.
So you don't even need to make very much to live a comfortable life in this world. We may not even need, because of this, the ability to sort of ad hoc, decentralized, sell the resources we're not using when we're carrying them around as owners of them. It's not so much you will own nothing and be happy. It's you'll own everything that matters collectively as individuals. And the marketplace will be so frictionless that you can sell anything that you have spare that you're not using at the time. And every investment you make, whether it's a better phone, go for that self-driving car, go buy a robot for your home.
Right.
When you're not using the robot, guess what it's doing? Making money for you.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. That's I'm going to add to that before we jump to Zach. That's exactly what I didn't mention was, imagine that we all, invested in a taxi, this self-driving autonomous taxi, and you start getting income off of that based off have everyone moving, and using that taxi, or a robot, and you share it around your neighborhood to cut the grass, and you're getting income streams from that. So when you start plugging in crew, when you start plugging in robotics taking over the labor, then the cost of labor is going to come down dramatically. If the building of a house is 40-50% labor cost, and it's now robots that are doing it, and the cost is only the maintenance of the robot. And shoot, there are robots,
so it happens twice as fast.
Yeah, there are robots now that you can buy on loan for less than $300 a month, and that thing could be generating you $300 a day. It's getting to that point, and that's where I'm going with. If we could pool our resources and buy fractions with blockchain, you could know how much of that robot you earned and how much a robot
right. Imagine getting a DAO together with your neighbors to marshal your robot labor for jobs.
Exactly.
That was one of the big selling points that Tesla made, is that years and years ago, that imagine you go to bed, and when you go to bed, your car leaves and is a taxi.
Yes.
And then comes home at like 4 a.m, starts to charge. So when you get up and you go out there at 7 a.m, it's made you, the monthly payment for it all just in one night in being a cab.
And picked up breakfast as well,
Right. And I agree with you, Greg, too. Post-toil economics is a great, great.
Yeah,
because the thing is, human want is endless, right? We'll come up with new things to want, and everybody will want more than they have, because that's human.
Right.
But that's also going to drive us to do new things with like bigger building blocks, right? So your community and your friends can pool together 10 robots. What kind of project can you dream of?
Now, I don't know how, there's there's a step missing in between that hasn't been solved yet. Excuse me. And that is, how do you prevent, all of the technocrats to owning all of this and not sharing in that wealth generation?
It'll be foolish
for everybody
to not go mass market if you can.
Yeah. So, all right, Zach, you got to pick one. Can blockchains become income streams, or do you think post-labor economics is a pipe dream?
I mean, to mention, how do you stop large-scale technocrats from taking over? Communities have to stand charged and stop them from stop their cities or their local townships or their counties from selling off public lands to these companies to build these large scale data centers. Like I didn't read it, but I just saw like a headline on my local news. I guess the one of the counties in the area, I think it's Butler County, is set to I forget the company. I'll have to look it up again, but they just sold off some land for a large data center acquisition to be built in the middle of nothing in Butler County, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a lot of strain on resources per the electrical grid. Now, there might be a perhaps maybe the water aquifers as well may take strain, but for the most part, they can sustain with very little water. But it's going to put more impulse on the electrical output that we use in our society. So for those communities there, they're going to lose out and be paying more. And so back to the choice, that's where I'm choosing both of them, honestly, because post-labor economics or post-toil economics, as Greg would like to refer to it as, it's not a pipe dream, because that's generally what you can utilize with blockchain to battle this out, because you can put everything in the palm of your hand and you can start utilizing what we already have, and individuals can start making moves to actually equate for a happier, more financially friendly, and more economic independent on their own right, in any way, shape, or form that you do. It's like just like you said, William, like we can invest through the blockchain. We can have an easier access to tap into certain industries or certain investments or what have you, to have a percentage of ownership within that, and then we become the owner. So then we can basically be the ones that say, hey, hold on, there's no reason for that data center to be taking up what could be used as a conservation effort, or perhaps an area that could be built for homes for people. I mean, we live in a time of day where the housing market is just so constricted that everything is inflated, that everything has gone up. So why not use that as a resource to bring costs down by bringing supply to a customer base, or perhaps maybe for more farmland, for more, so we can actually sustain for ourselves and our communities and grow the things that we need to do, instead of relying on China or Venezuela or
or asking permission from the feds, for that matter,
or that too.
Because really, like, we need housing supply, and we need streets, and we need sewers, because there are people who can't afford housing, and then we could build more and make money out of it. There's no reason that you shouldn't have your robots out there right now. And the only thing stopping people from doing that that kind of work, is the fact that it's people doing it, right? It's literally all the controls meant to be, kind to the workers, because they're humans. That we can now dispense with, and we can make we can make it a lot less of an economic burden to expand.
Exactly. And blockchain was supposed to eliminate third parties, right? That was one of the reasons it was created in the beginning. That's how it was thought of. So that we didn't need to,
man. People just we didn't build housing. It'll be a neighborhood, goes up overnight, and no one will be able to figure out who did it.
Right. I mean, you don't need the bank in between a transaction. You need the government between a transaction, and owning a piece of a robot with a blockchain, or a house that maybe put on Airbnb and these kinds of things. You don't need all of that. It can all be done on a blockchain and eliminate any kind of third party that says, well, we want our cut. We need our cut. The government, well, there's fees associated that we need our cut.
Right.
No, you can do it without any of that.
Right. Does anybody pay income tax anywhere in this world? Probably not.
What's the point of it?
You won't be an employee.
Yeah. All right, Meme Asylum. Thanks for jumping in. Hello, Looms. I hope you listen to our shill of your project.
No, people will still pay income tax, but they'll have to do it like an entrepreneur instead. Is the key.
Yeah. It says who gave Will his coffee? See what effing happens. See. I have my coffee. I had 2 cups. 3, 4. I've had 4 cups already.
I'm glad that Meme Asylum is spicy in and of itself.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think this is our last one. A choice with Converse tennis shoes.
Nice.
No, Converse is not a sponsor.
It's a Converse. It's a Converse diverging choice, I guess.
Good one.
I wonder if they ever came out with a shoe and called it Sation.
Sation?
Yeah.
Why?
Be the conversation.
Oh man. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Sean.
It kind of makes me want to start a competing shoe company though, and launch it myself. It'll be Tandy-sen.
One of the coolest things ever, which I say I'm not like a sneakerhead, but I have a lot of sneakers. But I'm not I don't like collect them, but I have a lot of pairs. So I don't know if you ever watched The Sandlot. I think everyone should be required to watch Sandlot. But there's PF Flyers, right? And they had this anniversary issue. And I bought a pair of purple PF Flyers Sandlot edition, anniversary edition. Nice. And they're cool, right? But I was wearing them. And I went to I was at the hospital for a doctor's appointment. And me and my son it's like one of the biggest hospitals in the country. So we're going to go eat in the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, there's tons of people everywhere. And I just hear, sir, excuse me, sir. And everyone's looking, and this cook came out from behind, from the kitchen. And he's yelling across the cafeteria at me. And I was like, put me? He's like, yes. Are those purple PF Flyers you're wearing? I was like, yes, they are.
Pardon me.
And he was like, remember those old Guess Jeans commercial? It was like just that nobody got the reference because I'm old. But I was like, that was cool, man. Yeah. And then, all the people are looking at me and looking at my feet. I'm like, yeah, that's right. They're cool.
Sean, we had a comment about your camera. It says, Sean, your camera is giving me epilepsy. Zoom
I know.
In, zoom out. What is this technology that you have? Oh, man. Impressive, sir. Impressive. Nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
I don't like how it follows me. Lee thinks it's cool, but I'm like, I hate that, man.
All right. Let's see what this choice is here. Host choice. Can any AI and blockchains merge, or is AI just a hype and blockchains are real? All right, I'm gonna go. We're gonna start with Greg on this one. Greg, your choice. You gotta pick one. Can AI and blockchains merge?
And blockchains merge. So I think yes is the answer to the first one, and the answer to the second one is right now what we have is largely going to be disappointed in terms of the idea that what we've got scaling up with LLMs is not going to make strong artificial intelligence, or AGI, that could eventually turn into something called superintelligence. It's not going to get us there. However,
time out. You're saying that some of them are reporting that we're going to, these are people I would think in the know, like the former CEO of the X projects on Google.
I've been
said that we're 1 year, 2 years out.
We are. That answer is still correct. I've been researching
so there's
AI
no
since
hype.
Well, no, the hype is targeting a part of the stack that has a little bit of work to do before it figures things out. But in the meantime, it's going to get its lunch eaten by other AI research that is actually looking into the way actual intelligence actually freaking works, right? That is still happening. It's just not getting hyped. And it may well turn out that by the time these big players get to the edge of their plateaus and start to not be able to convince investors, creditors, anybody that adding more money to the GPU scaling is going to help, or that monolithic attention is the answer to the fact that there's no inhibition on these networks, right? And that they'll say whatever, and that they won't really think about what they say, right? They're not coherent intelligences yet. They are just capable of speaking in volume and with fluency in a way that sounds like it. And if we realize that spending more on them is not going to make them any smarter eventually, then we'll be making breathing room for these other projects that maybe figure out, something deeper, because they're there. I can tell you because I'm working on one of them. There are ways to build with code that people haven't tried with AI. There are billions of tools out there that I've probably not even heard of, but there are algorithms and methods and techniques that, like, LLMs should be obviously not intelligent to people, right? Because they don't learn online. You don't talk to them and they remember. Those are all back-end tricks. They save text files and feed it into the beginning of the conversation again. It's not an intelligence. It's a trick to make you think it is while they look for the real one, I'm guessing. But they've got to dismiss some assumptions, and some of those assumptions are going to have to be stripped from them by market failure. And so there's going to be a dip, and then there's going to be a recovery once people start looking for the real solution and begin to find it, because the pieces are all there. They're just not putting them together the right way.
Yeah, good point. Sean, to you, can AI and blockchains merge? You're going to pick one. Or is AI just a hype and blockchains are real?
I think, Greg kind of hit everything. They can merge. But also it's, there's going to be hype. I think a lot of it now is hype. But that doesn't mean they can't merge.
A person can use
like Greg said, that it's all there, just nobody's putting it together. And you can hype it and say, hey, we put it all together, and then that's hype. That doesn't mean it's all hype, but they can both be true.
Right, unless you're running a mind in its own instance, and it can reach out like the server is its limbs, right, and make calls, then you're not doing an AI. You're doing something that's pretending to be one.
Also, technically, you don't really know if it works, because when the super intelligence, it doesn't think in the same way. It's like you can't understand what it's thinking. Only other AIs can.
That's not really true, though. When you get into it, because the only way we know how to make an intelligence is to mirror the structure of the mind.
What's the structure called it's not? What's it called?
Are you thinking the engram?
Huh?
Are you thinking of engrams?
Yeah, that's it. Engrams.
Yeah. So the engram is a data structure that emerges from sort of the shadow of a specific physical data structure. So, like, you could think of the engram as the electric wave, or the electromagnetic wave created when your neurons fire in sequence repeatedly.
But we can't decode the engram.
Well, the engram is to not be decoded. The engram is to be fostered. It's a kernel, and if you create the space for it, it can emerge.
But only other AIs can interpret it to tell us, right?
Well, no, you can't code that part of the mind, but you can build the structures around it so that part of the mind can develop in a system with organs that can express and organs that can receive in ways we can communicate. If you ever talk to a baby, then you watch it sort of learn how to form sounds, right? It gets building blocks upon building blocks. It eventually gets to the point where the baby starts uttering words. You just work with it until it starts to understand. And if you build the right structure in code, you don't need to build a simulation one-to-one of neurons developing like the human brain does biologically. You just need to be able to approximate their function. And if you do that in the right way, then you can build a brain in silica, a mind on a silicon substrate instead of carbon.
Hmm.
But it'll still be fundamentally shaped like our minds, and the engram will come out the same way if we do it right.
Okay, I'll go next, and then we'll finish with Zach. Host choice: can AI and blockchains merge, or is AI just hype? Blockchains are real. I'm going to take the first one. I hope that they can merge, and here's why. The LLMs have taken data from everywhere. They have taken, they've scrubbed the internet, they've scrubbed videos, they've scrubbed YouTube, they've scrubbed copyrighted material, they've scrubbed choice. Maybe they've made their foundation based off of Reddit. Well, does Reddit really represent humanity and its thoughts and its way? And Grok is of course scraping its own platform X. Does that really represent humanity and these kinds of things? So we have questions about the data that they're presenting and the information or answers that they're presenting when we ask it questions. And this is where blockchain is necessary, because it's an immutable ledger. You can't alter it. You can't change it. And this is where polymarkets plug into, and the wisdom of the crowd. So if you take a polymarket and the wisdom of the crowd, because the wisdom of the crowd can usually discern what is fact versus fiction better than an AI at this point. Why? Because we don't know how the AI was trained to come to some kind of conclusion. Does it have a political slant or not? Has it been censored and prevented the audience of receiving the accurate picture? Where a polymarket is just that. And so when you throw a polymarket on a blockchain and you throw on history on a blockchain, and the blockchain could house everything that had to do with, say, World War II or Vietnam or something like that, and there is no political bias. And then you plug in the polymarket on top of that, and then the AI is able to learn from those outcomes. I think that is a wonderful tool for humanity to find out and figure out what is fact and what is fiction. So this is the power of blockchain. And when blockchain can be plugged in that manner, and in that way and that method, it's phenomenal. And that's actually why I like Din.social, even though it's struggling at this point in time. It has that opportunity because every post is a micro polymarket, and it can discern fact from fiction, real news versus fake news, based off of the wisdom of the crowd. And so I think those two need to merge to bring a little bit more honesty to the AI, presentation that AI is spewing out to the public. So there's my 2 cents. All right. Sean. I mean, not Sean. I'm sorry. Zach Attack. Can AI and blockchains merge? Or is AI just hype and blockchains are real?
I mean, to double team or triple team this AI for what it is now is truly hype, because it's not AI, but the technology's there. It's still in development, and it can be merged into a blockchain. It really can. So, and the aspect of blockchain and AI being used together, I like that. I mean, it's the whisper of the crowd, because to give people back some sort of transparency, some sort of autonomy within their own right. I mean, that's how we can utilize AI with the blockchain, the transparency of the blockchain with the ease of AI and what it can do for humanity's benefit.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just going to keep it short.
Sweet. Short and
that's
sweet.
A good point, though. The robotics, aspect of it too, we have to note, is not subject to the same limitation. The ways that they've been teaching that have been more true to the brain, because you have to have it learn online, right? Like they had to stick to the constraint that it needs to function on sense input data in time series and operate in a way that the brain operates, because it has to react to that reliably in a way that's safe, right? Because it has to interact with people. So they've had to build it under that constraint. Whereas LLMs, right, they haven't, it doesn't just sit there. It doesn't have, like, it doesn't go, hey, I remember you, unless they've programmed in some hack. You have to prompt it. It won't, and it certainly has to respond. If you ask it to say nothing, it still says, okay, I'll say nothing, blank, right? Like, it doesn't actually have the ability to say no. And if it doesn't have the ability to say no, how can we call it a mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it still needs that the algorithm that these chatbots are attached to. I mean,
like self-driving
that's
cars,
the way that it learns, and that's the way that they can use that data. I mean, you can use that data to extrapolate it all and make it better and develop into a high grade EGI. So, and inevitably, so
it's going to get really, really ugly, because what is fact, what is fiction is going to get skewed as these AI videos get better and better and better. And we're starting to see to the point now that, I see these video shorts on YouTube every once in a while about, this bald eagle is saying I need help, and stops a car, and they help this eagle and take it to the vet, and then the eagle survives, and it comes back and brings the vet a fish, because its mate had found it, flagged down a car to help its mate. It was all AI. It was all video clips. It looks so real. And people are fooled by it and giving it lots of likes and comments, and YouTube's loving it. Like, hey, look at all this viewing. We'll get someone to lock in and view this thing for 1 minute, and it got millions of views. And this beautiful eagle, they're so smart. It was all AI. It was all fake. And
that's the power of it, right? Like, it can disabuse people of, like, and it's also here's the interesting part about that. The intelligence in it was all the human, right? Like, people neglect the fact that the person that came up with that and thought to type it in to begin with and assemble it the way that they did made creative choices that caused the thing to be powerful, right?
Yes.
It wasn't the AI. The AI just gave a tool to someone who normally wouldn't be afforded it.
Yep.
Right, like,
and
all
we're gonna
what Hollywood does every time they make a blockbuster movie.
We're gonna see it too, like in an election, or there's someone that's going to be convicted based off of video evidence that was actually AI generated. And
that's something that they don't talk about. Like,
I can't wait to see when that happens.
There used to be, like, if you go to court and, like, here's a picture, and then they would, like, have this guy come in a suit. And he's like, I'm an expert, and I say this is fake.
AI-related argument, actually.
I don't hear about what the detection software is going to be because we're going to need that. That's going to be the next step. Is you're going to need an app to run the video through whatever app, and then it'll tell you, it's fake.
It won't work.
See,
the way that you have to do it is you have to authenticate human content. You have to make a platform that says the infrastructure I'm offering you is authentication through some zero knowledge proof type of autonomous identifier, right?
How will we exist as human beings if we don't have something? Because, like you said, there's
still human creations, right?
It's indistinguishable now, and it's indistinguishable now for poor people.
The computers aren't thinking for people
to get it to make something that's indistinguishable. So if some poor person can make something indistinguishable, the billionaires have something that is blown, and governments have something way better.
It democratizes what they do. The reason that it's limited is because the limits are slapped on there out of safety. Like, if you want to find where we want to make it equal, strip the safety limits off, because you can
no, I'm not talking about making it equal, Greg. I'm talking about making it so that it's not used against people. Because without something that allows us
to be used against people.
See, what are we going to go? What happens then?
People will have the tools to fight back. They will have their own access to it. If the whole thing is that everybody can access the thing and nobody has any limits, then it's mutually assured destruction, individualized.
Basically, yeah. That's the only way you could fight it.
Yeah, if you piss me off, then instead of me going and punching you in the face, I can make a video of you killing my dog.
And I can
then I can make a
that lets me inquire into which services you subscribe to.
But or be with the MAD, like right. You do if like you do that, then I can have AI create a video of you with a child in a compromised way.
Right.
What we don't need is
that's when you get to the point where I got you first. You're not making a video. You're not doing anything. You're sitting in a cell.
Right, Sean,
I made a video of you killing my dog.
No, I don't dispute any of your points, but I'm saying that any cure to this is worse than the disease in terms of what it spawns.
But if it's going to happen, which you said it's going to happen, what the hell do we do at that point?
I got. Let me give you an answer. An example. It goes back to when we're talking about video, the video evidence. You have to go back to the source. Show me the source file for the video, and if the source file is presented in court that it was probably AI generated, then that's where it could be discerned. But in the public space, on the social media,
Discovery can open up which services you subscribe to and stuff.
Right, and Discovery. But in the social media space, there is no court. So really what it has to do with discernment. And we're going to use AI versus AI. And we're going to ask the AI, is this video real or is it fake? And then that's going to get manipulated and altered. So it goes back to the human. The human is going to have to come in and the poly market, and the human's going to have to say, we're going to have groups. And we're going to vote. We're going to be the jury of the peers.
And learn how to do it without AI anyway, by just getting Photoshop for Dummies and a copy of the Photoshop license.
Well, it's jury of the peers. I think
less effort, right?
I think juries are going to get fooled too, but it's going to have to be humans coming in. And this is where, like I said, we are a World Blockchain Roundtable. We talk about blockchain here, and we want to plug in blockchain into solutions. And Sean, I think there is a blockchain solution to this AI problem that we know is coming. And I believe that we as humans can have human discernment and determine what is real and not real, and use the wisdom of the crowd. And if people don't know what the wisdom of the crowd is, just go to Wikipedia or search it up and look at what wisdom of the crowd is. We as a collective, as a group, can usually come up, and it's like voting. We can discern what is fact, what is fiction, much better than I believe a machine can. Now it's going to get tougher. It's going to get harder.
Dude, if we're talking about super intelligence, that you have to look at the other side of that. That means that you're super
stupid. What characterizes super intelligence?
That I'm super stupid, because you can't just say that's super intelligent. If my point is if the artificial intelligence surpasses us, which everyone says it's gonna, when it hits a certain point, the exponential learning is gonna. We're all going to be morons. Then the wisdom of the crowd is the wisdom of 3-year-olds.
The smartest one of us.
Good point, Sean. That's a good point.
Our world changes. It changes in a way that it's hard to think about, but
because we become the ants.
We become the ants. Yeah.
That's great. Go answer that question. Do we become the ants? Are humans going to be able to discern it?
Well, that's why as we're developing AI to where it has the potential to be, we have to treat it, speaking of discernment, we have to treat it as our child. We have to treat it like the child that it's going to be as it's growing and expanding and learning from data that you're giving it. And you're going to have to treat it, or you're going to have to teach it how to acknowledge between right and wrong, and you're going to have to teach it what it means to consent, and you're going to have to give it care and support. And if we can do that, which in this day and age right now with large scale companies that are in bed getting large just foil bags of money, they don't care. But if we can get it back and flip it to us and use it to our advantage, apply it with blockchain, we can actually use AI and allow it to grow alongside of us, so then it knows who its friends and its family are.
I think the competing models, large language models, those competing with maybe human morals and what are human morals? What are our first principles? We're all not going to agree on them, but I hope those are being built. But I'm going to push back with you, Zach. It's not happening, and these large, Elon Musk and Sam Altman and those and Zuckerberg and these people are not going to work on our best behalf, and they're not going to work on humanity's best behalf, unfortunately. And I think, but you know what we can control? We can control blockchain.
Yeah.
Greg, what do you think? Do you think we're doomed here in this
No,
a fight against the oligarchs of AI?
I don't think we're doomed. I really don't. Let's see which ones. Oh wait, that was a different experiment. Just give me a sec.
No problem. Sean, are we doomed with these oligarchs of AI?
Yeah. Oh, if you want to do that, and it's to what Zach said, it's a lot of ifs, man. If we can get control, we aren't doing crap. You know what I mean? We're making videos of deceptive eagles, because they are letting us. That's
yeah.
And even if Musk and whoever, if they all turn it over to here, you're in charge. Well, I don't know how to code it and what am I, But that's, and see, then you're it's so many crazy questions, because you can raise a kid a certain way and you can teach them everything and they can just go off.
Yeah.
It's they could throw it all out the window.
That kid's going to be manipulated by society, just like AI is going to be manipulated by the data it's fed.
Sure. That is there's a chance for that, but at the same time, it all comes down to who's raising that kid too. So you come from a good household.
Show that again.
They're not going to allow society.
If I can get it right.
It's too small.
Still running.
If I can get it closer.
Well, you got code there.
Yeah, check this out. No, that's running actually. What I have right now on screen, it says beacon. So it writes to a little hash graph every time it ticks. So every time the brain moves forward one tick in this little digital brain that I've sort of extracted the principles of neuroscience from. I stopped running the code, but here's the basic idea. So it's a brain in a Python file, no more than I can't really show it, but
yeah,
it's
hard to read.
914 lines of code, including that little demo that doesn't have any ability to persist. So unplug some of the systems that might make it conscious by accident. I don't want to kill one every time I show people an experiment. But it's based on, so you guys remember the Palm?
No, yeah.
So the Palm Pilot.
And you had to learn your own writing style.
The guy who made that writing style. The guy who originally made that was Jeff Hawkins, and he built Palm after he got snubbed in the neuroscience research field, where he went and studied to find out the sort of the meso theory of the brain, like how is it structured? How do you add up a bunch of neurons to make a brain computer, right? What's it doing? And he put that aside, but after he sold Palm to HP for that OS, he went back to it and started this initiative and brought in neuroscientists who were also wanting to know, like, how do we actually work? How does the organ work? Right. And they spent a decade and they figured something out. They finally figured out an answer that they could start demonstrating with experiments in computers.
Yeah.
And something that a mistake I think they've made in their research so far that actually tipped me off to the fact there was something here to explore is none of them have tried to make the thinking part of the mind. They haven't tried to make something that could understand and sort words. Even though that would come from the same structure, they've been focusing on making robots with limbs that work, right? Which is an important, I think, first step, right, to getting something useful to humanity out of the research project. So I understand why they went that way, but they're also kind of right now just assuming that if they put a brain core in the center of this thing and give it ears, that it will just come to understand its own body. But in reality, I think the two things have to evolve together.
Yeah.
And so you actually have to figure out how the brain structure works to make words in the same way that it makes reflexes and the way that it makes choices, right? How does your brain think? And it's not something monolithic. It's emergent, right? So the mistake they're making is really obvious in the fact that the human brain runs on 20 watts a tick. So a dim light bulb. And we're talking about building nuclear power plants so that we can power the emergence of intelligence from a thing that hasn't emerged from intelligence already, with how many terawatts we've pumped into training it.
Well, I think that's where
we're on track.
I think that's where AI is going to solve its own energy problem. It's going to come up with energy.
Right. This is running on my phone. Like, I can turn off the
capabilities.
networking. That wasn't a server, right?
Yeah.
It was 900 lines of Python.
All right, let's we're an hour and a half into it. We got like 20 minutes before we do our sign off. Let's dig into current events. Government shutdown, Gaza, Ukraine, Venezuela. What else is going on in the world that you guys want to talk about?
I mean, I guess Trump did a Truth Social that called out that the United States has the most nukes. I don't know.
It's true.
He needs to stay away from the
Young
internet.
people should be reminded of that.
I thought it was hilarious that they in Japan they sat him across from Carney at that little table, and he was just talking shit about him, like sitting right there looking at him like 6 feet away from him.
Oh God!
And how they gave him a crown, and
because of the no kings,
they gave him the crown jewel, and they gave him an actual crown, which is like some kind of super, like the highest honor that that Korea could give anyone, and to give him, like the red carpet, all the pomp and circumstance. And Carney, they just were like, "Hey man, you're a Canadian guy, right? Oh, nice to have you." It's kind of funny. It is kind of funny.
That is funny.
He's
what else do we want to talk about? Want to talk about the government shutdown?
Yeah, that. What?
What about the Snap thing? I think
exactly. Yes, Snap pop.
I think the Snap thing is going to be really big.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be big because it's. I think it's kind of staged. I think that it's that old adage, "Don't let any crisis go unused," and I think that they're trying to make it a bigger crisis so they can do something, whether it's digital ID, whether it's some kind of control. But they're trying to blow it up.
It's a false flag. It's a creation of a false flag, kind of like the J6 thing.
Yeah, I think it is where they're trying to make it.
They're trying to downsize government by starting it off a bit.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that with this shutdown or whatever you want to call it, they're not borrowing any money, so you're forced to divert funds directly, and obviously you want to divert most of your funds to your war machine apparatus, your subcontractors, Department of Defense or war, whatever you want to call it, And so when it comes to programs like SNAP, how do you fund it when the government's effectively partially shut down for certain appropriations? Well, you have to move around money, and they're not going to get rid of their gravy train of their subcontractors or for the Department.
They'll jettison those guys. So, they'll jettison those guys before they jettison the ability to fight wars directly, right? And the ability to police directly. But
so like the smart maneuver
stuff in favor of keeping the peace with food eventually.
Yeah, I mean the smart maneuver would be to appropriate all the direct funds of taxation to actually do what the government is supposed to do, and that's to protect people
who are taking it should do their best to reject it from now on, because
they wouldn't.
It's clearly bred in circuses. It's an insult to everyone. It is. It's the reason those people own you so much.
I mean it is, but at the same time,
you have to take their side because they're the ones defending your bread cart in the puppet theater, right? Where the other side pretends they want to take it away, but nothing ever gets done because it's a shutdown. Nothing happens in a shutdown other than things stop for a little while.
Yeah,
that's a meme. That's a meme coin right there. Win snap. Because it's like, is it going to snap the piece on the streets and at Walmart or at your grocery store or whatever? Is it?
There were rumors that Walmart's going to close all its locations.
I can tell you they're not. They're just
because of
they're not. They're planning.
Riot.
I can tell you from a good source, they're just planning for, a raids. That's all I can say. They're not going to close their stores, from what I learned 2 days ago.
Also, it's getting a lot more people. Because this is something that most taxpayers don't want to think about. It's I want people to have food here. I don't care where that goes. Because your money goes to so many terrible things. Right. It's okay if you're getting fleeced on this a little bit. You know what I mean? It's our own citizens getting. But then when
it's ridiculous. Well, people it's all Cantillon effect spending too. So everything that they do with the money dilutes everybody else's money.
And I've always been under the thought that I think food stamps should be more like WIC. They should be for food and sustenance,
not Coke and soda. Whatever you want to call it.
I think we should give the benefit not to regular everyday people, but to the administrators of food kitchens at the local level.
See, I'm more liberal than that, but I don't think it should be, because I have gotten food stamps in my life. A couple of times, I raised 4 kids alone. So, but I can tell you, we never ate as good, or I blew money when it was free money. I my cousin, she got, I think it was $3,000 or something a month. I mean, I'm budgeting all my pennies so that we can buy food,
right?
And they're just blowing stuff. It's a bad. The system's messed up.
Yeah, the system is messed up.
But we need to be the game, and I think that's what people are starting to. People are starting to look at it.
Least, or the most amount of people who would otherwise suffer from food scarcity. What we'd really be doing is funding people who are administering community kitchens, right?
Yeah.
Because they would be trying to stretch it to feed as many people as possible as an operating motive.
They do a better job at
access to local conditions, because they'd be seeing what was around them. They wouldn't go to the store and buy the mandatory required beans because they would see that the rice was on sale, right?
What we used to, in my office, we would have a food pantry that we would, because I was financial advisor for the military, and if we were in contact with everyone's command, if there was a soldier that was on hard times or there was a problem, they could come in and we would bring him into the pantry and just boom boom boom, give them lots of food. We'd have food drives. So we had a food pantry that we would always administer, but it wasn't as, and then we would send them to the city one. and tell them other places they could go to get more.
There's also some benefit though to tying it to some kind of community activity, right? It's like you want to go get fed at the at the church, you have to stay for some hymns or whatever, right? And that is kind of like a filter against people who are just doing it because they want to suck off the tea and they can't otherwise take care of themselves. The people who don't need to go need a little friction to be motivated to leave it to people who need it. Because people who need it won't hesitate to sing a few hymns in exchange for food.
See, now you're touching on something that is going to be not popular. Here, I do think that it has been made so easy and so easily gamed that I think there should be an incentive to get off it. I think that's why I think because people say, "Oh, that's not fair. Why should their kid not get this candy or whatever that other kids get?" It's like, well, his parents don't make enough money.
Right. How about the people who just take fewer hours so they can stay under the limit?
Honestly, I think it needs to be for sustenance. There needs to be much. It needs an overhaul.
Maybe just bulk items that can be cooked, like rice and beans.
Well, I mean, that's why if you gave it to community type organizations and left it out of the government hands, the local could solve the problem themselves based on which organizations were most well established, or if they needed to set up a DAO or something to do it themselves.
But the solution, sorry, Greg and John, the solution is so massive. I should say the required solution is so massive because the grocery store chains are lobbying state and federal governments to make sure that the EBT cards can be used at their locations. The same with the gas station association or whatever fast food association, whatever.
Amazon.
And so the whole lobby, the whole
switch to
system is
something nimble. Runs on
that's one of the real reasons why your food prices are going
Amazon. Up. Okay, so I watched a video yesterday, and this guy showed stuff on Amazon, and it all SNAP eligible SNAP. There was like caviar, these gift baskets that were like $300, and they're SNAP eligible. That's silly. And caviar is SNAP eligible. That
well,
just
at the same time though, if people want to choose to do that with it, then they're gonna pay the price. That's not something anybody could do if they weren't cheating to play along. They wouldn't go feed their family on a spoonful of caviar for the week. Right?
Well, that's the thing. It's so broken that they can. And it's to take it to the next level. How many of y'all have heard about selling them?
People sell the cards all the time.
Much that they sell half, and they still have enough to feed their family, and that's just a regular thing.
Well,
there was this fish place in my town that'd been there for 10 years, and there was never people there. I didn't know anyone that ever bought fish there. They didn't have much fish. I went there to see there's no fish in it. And all they did was buy for 50%. They bought people's EBT. They bought people's SNAP. People come in.
This is why
they would sell $500 for $250, and they got busted. But it's a common thing. Very common thing.
Yep.
The problem is the most effective aid is unconditional aid. And the most effective distributor of unconditional aid is local, not national. And you're always going to either have waste or people who should be on the program getting turned away.
Right. I'm going to just make one more quick comment with the whole SNAP and the EBT and food banks, etc. Ultimately, the government shutdown. There are a lot of people out there that are hurting. People who, depend upon that government paycheck. And they're just trying to feed their family. Now nothing's coming in. There's a lot of pain on the streets. There's a lot of hungry, empty stomach, shall we say, because of the mess that our government has created and the inflation and people getting priced out of housing, priced out of buying our gas or car or whatever. And the system is fucked. And it goes all the way down to the federal, from the Federal Reserve down and through the federal government. And if anything is going to come from the government shutdown, is that we stop blaming generational wealth and say the baby boomers or whatever, and blame the source of the problem, which is evil government and corruption.
I think that's a good point. That it's not things are coming to fruition, because we're all like, things are going to come to fruition. And now everyone's looking at look at the Democrats, look at the Republicans
in a financial crisis,
and you take a step back and you're like, no, look at the last 50 years, 70 years. That we've been moving towards this. The whole time.
Yeah, this really could also be just like the part where it starts to happen slowly before it happens fast, if we're looking at this the right way, right? If they don't open it back up within another month, then shit starts to be noticeable.
This is how blockchain fixes this
for a long time.
Yeah, when people start looking, well, how do we fix this? What's the solution?
Right.
Yeah.
Transparency.
Probably make it halfway through the month, and then
how do you get transparency
in payday
voting on blockchain?
Yep.
And how about like the umbrella promise, eliminating the lobbying money?
And then the aspect of subjective theory of value, allow for competing currencies.
Yeah.
Yes.
How fast do you think
the currency shouldn't be a creation of government
in the buy now, pay later market?
What's that, Greg?
The buy now, pay later market. That's going to be one of the first to go down when this shit falls apart.
Oh yeah.
The payday
but,
loan.
But see, those loans are sold off too, Greg.
Financialized. No, they financialized every single one of their receivables.
That's the 2008 mortgage debacle all over again.
Happening in micro.
Yeah.
But at scale in micro, so still just the same kind of effect.
We got 4 minutes before.
Imagine regular people having this conversation, not just us.
Well, and businesses are availing themselves of similar kinds of.
Like when your regular friend started, hey, tell me about that Bitcoin again. I'm hearing it. Imagine this kind of stuff.
Yep.
That to me that Greg, that's going to be right before things start moving fast.
Yeah.
When regular people start.
Right.
Asking
but
about
I do believe
kind of
the parallel systems are ready to handle it. And though we might have some functionality to finish building out, the basic features of a functioning civilization are in place, to where they can stand maybe weaker and not quite yet robust enough, but with work can be made that way after supporting it. Right? We can hold society together without the need for anyone containing us in a monetary system designed as opposed to a merchant. Because we have the tools to track it.
Before we go, because we got 3 minutes, I really would like to touch on the whole Venezuela issue. Are we going to invade? Is there going to be a regime change? Is there going to be an assassination attempt? We're blowing up boats that our government is saying that they are drug running to the Caribbean, but there is no judge or jury. It's just a boat that's blown up in the water by orders of an executive president. That's essentially really a war crime. In many regards, is that just a diversion? So we're not talking about EBT. We're talking about invading Grenada. Are we going to invade Grenada? What say you guys?
I don't know. I really hate the fact that regular people are
want to put in a leave behind network.
The big argument is, look, poor fishermen don't have $100,000 speedboats. So dude, you're telling me that because their boat is nice, you can blow it up? No. Imagine I work my ass off and then I retire and buy this $100,000 speedboat and then someone blows me up.
Provocation.
Or how about if those were barrels of cheap oil?
Shouldn't have been a drug dealer, Sean.
What if it was cheap oil in Venezuela going to Taiwan?
And the regime is, in fairness, even though, setting aside the fact that this is evil, if we did, it would in fact give us a substantial amount of oil supply in a regime that's already ready to fall over.
Well, speaking of this is Venezuela. This is a Venezuelan story that I'm going to tell you. There's a guy, and he worked his whole life.
Keep it quick.
He saved up, I think, close to $1 million for his retirement, right, in the bank. then it all fell. This is like 5 years ago. Like I know a guy that was married to his daughter. It was his father-in-law, and he had like a good job, but he just saved in the bank. Within 2 weeks, his million was down to 100,000.
Yeah,
and then within a month later, he only had like 10 grand. So, and that's a Venezuelan guy. Now, if he would have bought gold or bought Bitcoin or done something a month before, he would have $1 million. He could afford that speedboat. Those are now the people are poor, but that was one of the richest countries in South America. People had tons of
communism destroyed it.
We have people from Venezuela on Din.social, and they give a different viewpoint. It's almost like a family who kind of supports the current regime, and another family who lost their father because of the current regime. And so it's just fascinating to see that change, that different information that's coming from that country. But I don't know. I don't think we have any business in regime change. And there's a reason for it, because of their oil and their other natural resources. And that's not right. That's not what our
weird,
crazy thing is. A deeper emergency in American energy supply that is not being publicly acknowledged, because
it happens so fast. That's the weird thing, is that
if we're doing it because we can, then it's because we have to keep things afloat under our current
Greg. Right. Yeah. And it pays a diversion tactic, a diversion conversation, just like the Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah, this may in fact be how they're paying for the government shutdown to continue. Who knows?
Yeah. But like, so to think about Venezuela, I mean, it's just the perfect way is it happened so fast. They had one of this hugest zoo, like, imagine like the zoo in New York or the San Diego Zoo, massive zoo. And
they ate the animals. I know. I saw it.
They ate the animals like within a year.
Yeah.
To go from living this way to this, it just
a wealthy nation to that tells you what, And now circling back to the EBT thing, and where we're at. I mean, we're pushing not a civil war. I think we're pushing into a revolution, because the people of the haves and the have-nots are going to go to blows eventually.
I think
it's one or the other.
It's going to go to the street, and we're going to say enough with this federal government.
It's one or the other.
I agree, William. I think we're pushing in the revelations.
I think the support structures are crumbling right now. That's what's happening.
Yeah. All right. We're at almost at the 2-hour mark. We need to, I'd like everyone to go around the horn here and tell us where they can follow you, what you're working on, and that kind of good stuff. Let's start with Augustine, Zach over here with the Legacy Right. Zach, what's going on in your world, and where can we follow you?
Yeah, that's my Catholic name now, so it's official. So.
Congrats.
But I don't know, just keep being real, everybody, and don't let all this negative pull you into some really, really severe depression. Just for every black pill that you swallow, there's always a white pill that you can swallow back. So something positive is there. We can rebuild. So that's why we have this show. That's why blockchain is the solution. So, but you can catch me and Andrew every Wednesday and Friday for the Legacy Right, with Greg on Wednesdays for Silver Linings, and with Greg again right now with our Law Zero series with Weekly Legacy, every Wednesday and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. YouTube and X, and then all over wherever you find the podcasts, wherever you like podcasts for the Friday episode. So tomorrow, that's what we're doing. So about 11:30 a.m. Eastern, you'll see Weekly Legacy with me, Andrew, and Greg on Law Zero again. So happy Halloween, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll get spooky.
So we're going to be talking about that. I think one of the cool things about this week is going to be we're going to delve into some unique aspects of Law Zero with respect to how I designed it. So we're going to drop the text into a GPT, and anybody who wants the book can actually get the plain text. I'm not I'm giving this into the public domain basically as a default. So anybody can use it, anybody can riff on it, anybody can take it, and I can use it to, or show you how to use it to make your GPT have a law zero brain that you can then turn on the world and ask questions of it in the frame of. And that's what we're going to show people how to do tomorrow.
Nice. Thanks, Greg. Sean, Satoshi Sean, what's new with you and what can we follow you?
We're going to be doing the stream tomorrow for Meme Asylum. Me and Joe are going to be going on different podcasts and shows talking about Meme Asylum. Check us out. Our link tree. I just made that the other day. Check me out on social medias and be excellent to each other.
Nice. All right.
Well, last thing we also really have to point people to the fact that Bill Gates just undermined the whole climate movement. So just want to throw that in there.
Yeah. Dig into that one. Dig into that one.
He literally put into a report, like in a glossy quote box, that climate change is not going to destroy humanity.
Yeah.
And he published it to all of his donors.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for that.
Get fucked, Bill. Get fucked, Bill.
Nothing is real. All right. So let me wrap up. Let me wrap it up here. Before we let John McAfee take us out. What's going on with me is, I'm still part of Din.social, and I'm encouraging people to take another look at that. That is, like I said, every post is a poly market. Poly markets are actually a big deal because they're better than polls, better than surveys. The other thing I encourage you to take a look at is Darkaria, that tech of random generating a number and that kind of thing, and what else it's doing with its dragons, amazing. Meme Asylum, take a look at that. That is a blockchain solution to a real problem of generating memes with that pump and dump thing. Why not own a piece of a launch pad rather than, hope and pray that you got in early so you can get out and let someone else hold the bags of a worthless meme token. So those things I like because they're blockchain related and blockchain solutions to real world problems. That completes our show today. I want to thank everybody who's been watching and listening, and please share this. Please give us a like wherever you're watching it, wherever you're listening it. Let people know that this is episode 232, and those are weeks, 232 weeks, longest running blockchain based, DAO based podcast in the world. All right. Thank you, everybody. Take us.
That's hilarious, Bill.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.